Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, June 15th, and I'm here for my weekly stitching update. Got a good amount to show you and not a lot of time to show you in, so hopefully we can get this done and still have fun. I have a couple things that I purchased, one I purchased this week and one arrived this week. So I'll show you those first. They both have to do with July's plans. Because July, I told you before I was planning to do do 25 Advent Animals ornament starts. And I'm going to do one every day. I won't finish them. I won't focus on them. I'll just start them. 1 through 25 for July 1 through 25. And then Full Coverage Fanatics came out with a bingo board, which has 25 spots on it. And so you can do a counting version, a non-counting version, go for 5 in a row, go for a blackout. I have a lot of full coverage projects. I fit almost every prompt, except for 2. And so I originally was like, I could totally do this. I'll go for a blackout. I won't do the counting because I can't get 1,000 stitches in one day, but I'll start my Advent Animal ornament and then I'll do the rest of the day on whatever full coverage piece I have. So that's my plan for the first 25 days in July. 2 prompts didn't work. One was dragons. I don't have anything full coverage with dragons. My Theresa Wenzler dragon doesn't count because it's not full coverage. However, I have found a Randall Spangler pattern that my son likes. It has a teddy bear reading bear time stories to 2 baby dragons, and he really likes it. And it's a mini and it's cute. So I'm hoping for a sale to be able to pick it up, not full price at least, before the end of the 25th of July, but if all else fails, I'll go ahead and just pay full price for it, and start it towards the end of the month, or towards the end of that chunk. But ideally, sometime between then and now, maybe, I don't know, there'll be some sort of sale. Otherwise, so I don't have that one yet, but the other one was something that has less than 50 colors. And I don't have anything that fits that prompt. Go figure. I think the lowest I had was like 80 maybe, 80 colors, and the most is 238, something like that, which is the one you're going to see today, which is I'll be working on at the end of the week, a stitching shelf, max colors. All my Golden Kite patterns are close to 200, because they use blends, so they do have a lot of colors in them. And then the most Heaven and Earth designs have between 80 and 90. So, and even the Art of Stitching one I had over 100. And yeah, so I don't think I had anything else. I could have. I was considering maybe asking if my needlepoint, the kitty friends of the library with the cats and the books, I was considering asking if that counted because it is full coverage with half stitches, so it might have worked. But because I had to get the dragon piece for my one son, and I had already looked at this pattern on Etsy for my other son and just figured, well, this is as good a time as any. So I went ahead and bought Visit Endor from Country Magic Stitch on Etsy, and this only has 11 colors, so it definitely counts. I'll be doing this 2/1 half stitches on the 28 count, and it's not compatible with Pattern Keeper. I just checked earlier this morning, but it is big blocks of color, so it shouldn't be too hard to just use the paper copy, and it's not that big. 128 by 176, so on the fairly small side. So this is for one son, and the dragon piece, I will put a picture here what that looks like, and that's for my other son. So those are the 2 full coverage pieces that are going to help me get a blackout in July. So I'm crazy, I know, but there are 6 days at the end of July after the first 25 days are over, and so for that I figured I could work on the 4 full coverage, the 4 family pieces that I have left that are not full coverage, because two of my family pieces are full coverage, and will probably get done in the bingo. But I figured it is Joan Elliott July, and I've never been able to participate in Joan Elliott July, which a lot of people will do because a lot of people have multiple Joan Elliott patterns. So I decided, well, I can finally participate because I started a Joan Elliott last month. And I had another one, my favorite one, and probably the only other one I will start at this point, is Edwardian Lady, which I showed you a little while ago that I had purchased. I got fabric for it, and the fabric came in. I got it from Stitchery Express. It's a fabric flare pattern called Fairy Mist. And that's that. Very, very pretty fabric. So I don't know yet, maybe this way, which way I'll go, but it's very similar to what is shown in the picture, which has got, you know, a nice modeling in the background with multiple pinks and greens and yellows and blues and whatnot. So that's perfect. I need to I really need to serge it. It's definitely fraying all over the place. But I will be working on that on the 26th, 27th, and 28th, and then I'll work on my May Day Merriment, which I started last month. I'll work on that the last 3 days of the month. So I'll do my 2 Joan Elliott's in Joan Elliott July for the first time, so that'll be fun. And my family pieces will just, most of my family pieces will just need to wait, I guess. But that's okay, because it's fun sometimes to just enjoy the activities and challenges and things, because this is a fun hobby, so let's just enjoy the fun. And I'm already thinking about August as well, because I coined Arbitrary August about 3 years ago, maybe now. So I feel obligated to continue to do it, but it is evolving with the way I do it. This year I thought it would be fun. First of all, the first year I did it, I think I did a different whip every day, and I have close to 50 whips. I have more now. I don't remember how many I had then, but so I had a different whip every day. Not all my projects, but I did touch a different project every day using a I pulled things out of a bowl that year. The following year, I think I did, I used the wheel. I don't remember what the criteria was. At some point, I did ones that I hadn't stitched on before yet that year. And so that was fun to get access to some of the ones that had not yet seen love. Because I tend to do that where I pull out a piece and I fixate on just a few things and then I forget a lot of the other ones. So that was nice to do. This year, I think what I might do is I'm going to continue to work in Enchanted Stitching Challenges because I really like that group, and I'm probably going to, I may or may not try to fit prompts in July. We'll see how it goes with all the craziness, because I just ignored it in May, but we'll see. I haven't decided that. But I'll go back to it in August at least, and I'm doing it now. Enchanted Stitching Challenges has 4, I am only doing their weekly challenges. I know they have other ones available, but for me, just the weekly ones are enough. I don't want any more challenges or prompts than that. I think that's plenty. So they have 4 challenges a week. And so for what I thought for Arbitrary August is I would sort all of my projects, which I think is like 55 right now. I'll sort them into categories of small, medium, large, extra large. And for me, those categories might be different than a lot of other people's different categories, because my smalls are not that small. And my extra larges are very large. So I'll probably sort them into somewhat even categories. So my smalls might end up being including some projects that other people would consider medium or large, just because I want to have them be fairly evenly distributed. And I'll create a wheel with each category of projects. And what I'll do is I'll spin each wheel each week to have 4 projects each week. So I'll have 1 small, 1 medium, 1 large, 1 extra large every week. And of the ones I spin, I'll have to figure out how to fit those into the Enchanted Stitching prompts, which could be challenging. Because like this week, I had some pieces I wanted to work on and they didn't all fit. So that'll be a challenge. But I think it'll be fun. And I'll either get super creative or I'll just have to skip a prompt that week. But that's kind of what I thought. I'd work on 1 of each size every week and hopefully try to fit them into the prompts. So that's my August plan. So if you want to join me with that, we can continue to use the term Arbitrary August, and that's my take on it this year. Feel free to do what you want with it, because I know like the Stitch Mania people that made that up who knows how many years ago. It's very different now. So feel free to make it what you want. So let's see what I worked on, shall we? Okay. First of all, my travel stitching. I have my Bloomtopia bag here. I did work on one more piece. So now I have all of the inside motifs done, but I can't show you them all yet. Which part releases today? Number 10 releases today. And so I made a clip of that a couple weeks ago. So I'll include that here of my finish of release number 10. Hi, it's Monday, June 8th, and I'm here to give you an update on my Bloomtopia stitch along. I won't be able to share this until the 15th, so thought I'd go ahead and share it and record it now so I can keep stitching on it. Here is my part 10 right here. It's another very quilty looking one. It's got blue and green and gray. And it kind of brings, like this one brought in the dark pinks from over here, and this one brings in this dark blue from that corner. So that's kind of nice. So that was a fun one. It went pretty quick because of the big blocks of color. I was able to do most of that while I was visiting on the phone at one point. So there's one more small motif and then the border. So I'll work on this small motif this week, and I'm excited. So this is 28 count Ivory Lugana, and I'm doing it 1/1 with my specialty threads that I pulled from my stash. A little bit cooler palette than what they called for, but very similar in color. I just changed the shade a little bit, so it's pretty cute. I'm really enjoying this. So it's a fun stitch. Each part is fairly quick and very pretty colors to work with. So I'm enjoying that. So now back to the rest of your video. Bye. And that's really fun. And I also enjoyed number 11 that I did this week. It's very cute. So I will make a video of that later today and include that when that releases on the 1st, so that I can start working on the border, which is part 12, which is the last part of Bloomtopia. So we're wrapping it up. This was a fun one. All the parts were very small. It's a charity stitch along. So it's free, and they're asking you to donate to Make-A-Wish. So that one was fun. So I did work on that this week. I do plan to work on it again. And I think the border will probably take me a couple weeks, and I'm okay with that. But I'll get to work on that. I also worked on my temperature tree, which is in my shop, and got caught up yesterday and even got some more work on the trunk. So here's this compared to last week. I got all of June's branch finished and got caught up on the leaves. We had another little low 90s patch here, but some of these other leaves are cooler in the 80s. And I even came down here and started working some more on the bottom. It's not done. I still have my string on my needle even. So I'm hoping to get that bottom finished up as well sooner than later. So that's where it's at. And it's fun to think that when June's branch is done, it'll be halfway done. We're kind of cresting the top there. So that's fun. If you start it in January from the bottom and work clockwise around the tree, it will be, you have the exact number of leaves on each branch for January, February, March, all the way through, rotating through the year. Some people are doing it where it's meant for like a special occasion, like an anniversary sampler or a birth sampler, or some such thing. So it's possible to stitch the whole thing and start it wherever you want, and maybe include a note on there of the dates it is. You just need to know that the branches won't line up with the months if you don't start in January. But it's fine because there's still 365 or 366 leaves on there. I have one optional leaf for a leap year, which 2020 was a leap year, so that's included if you need it. But you don't have to stitch it, and it's marked which one is the optional one. Okay, so my regular stitching this week, I think that's all the other stitching. My customer piece is going really well. I'm enjoying that putting in 1 or 2 links of thread every day on that one. So I guess I worked on Simpsons first. I still haven't put this into my, now that I can access this in Pattern Keeper, I can add it to my Pattern Keeper folder that has all my cover pages in it. This is the full coverage bingo that I'm starting to fit things in. I haven't plotted everything out completely yet. I'm still working on that. So anyways, I worked on Simpsons, and I was telling you I was hoping to work in, or planning to work in, Marge's arm in yellow, but the prompt for Enchanted Stitching could have been using white stitches. And I figured, well, it's going to be hard for me to get up the motivation to want to work on the white stitches, because this is 40 count half stitches, 1 over 1, white on white. So I'm not going to want to do it. So I might as well have the motivation of a prompt to get me to do it. So I did it. So this, you won't be able to see a whole lot of difference at a glance, but I'll hopefully bring it in and you can see it. Maybe you can see a little bit. I did white in his eyes, and then I did white in the background here of the edge of the circle that they're punching out of, and then white in her eyes too. So that came out to be a little over 500 half stitches just in that. And these sections are not filled in. They're more like checkerboarded with 2 or 3 other colors. See if that'll focus. Yeah, you can kind of see it a little bit. Hopefully it's focusing nicely, but hopefully you can see those stitches. I did them. They're there. So that's the progress on that. I didn't get to the yellow because I figured once I switched over to fulfill the prompt of the white stitches, that's all I could work on and for that prompt. And by the time I was done with the 500 half stitches, which equals 250 for the prompt full stitches, I didn't really want to spend any more time on it to make sure I didn't neglect my other pieces. So that's that one. It's coming along nicely. Hopefully I can do the yellow next time. So, and I also, what else did I work on? Oh yeah, I worked on Iris. I think that was the next thing for my aunt. This is a quick stitch crop from Josephine Wall off of one of her other pieces. And here it is. I got the park threads completely filled in. So I'm very excited. Here it is now compared to last week. And I had wished I could have done a little bit more. I can't remember how many I got on this one. Just about, yeah, just barely over 250. I actually finished all the park threads, didn't have a lot of time to work on it, and came back. I was playing thread chicken with a color. I decided to stop, and then I added up that day's versus the next day's after I cut my thread, and I was 1 stitch short of 250. So I'm like, I should have just kept it on my needle and did 1 more stitch. But so the next day I picked a color that only had 4 stitches. I think it was these right here, these dark ones. And they were the last 4 of that color in the entire piece. So I'm like, perfect, I'll do that one. So I put those 4 in, got a little over, and got 253, and then I got my 250 prompt, and I needed to move on to the next one. But I am happy now that this is all the park threads are pulled in. So next time I work on this, I'll start up here at the top, and I'll just pick colors and fill in from the top down. That's my plan. I may color complete, or I may just pick a string and move it, go until it runs out, then pick a next string, move it until it comes out. I might do that just because I like the look of the finished piece as it comes down. So we'll see. We'll see what mood I'm in when I get to this next time. And the next time you'll see this will probably be for the July bingo, for full coverage phonetics. So that'll be fun. So I'll only get 1 day on it in July. Then I worked on Waterfall in Yosemite, which several people really like this one. So I pulled this out. This is a golden kite. This is the mini version. They do have a bigger one, but I figured this had enough detail for me that I was still happy with how it looked. And I'm pretty happy with what I got done too. I got done a little over 500 full cross stitches. I kept going on this as much as I could. I was planning to start Summer Queen on Friday, and I decided to just hold off until Saturday because I really wanted to get as much done on this as I could while I had it out. I didn't want to shortchange it. I ended up getting 200 stitches, just over 200 stitches the first day. So I could have done just a tiny bit more on the second day and went ahead and start Summer Queen when I said I was going to on the 12th, but I decided no, I'm gonna work on this more on Friday, and I ended up getting almost 350 all by itself on Friday. So I got a good amount done, and then started Summer Queen on Saturday. So this is where this is now. Put it back here to show you, hopefully next to last time. You can see I worked mostly up here and got the first like 15 rows or so are all finished. Not 2 blocks total, but the top block for sure. The top 10 square block is completed. And I love the how they've blended so many colors to get the look of the clouds. For example, I had basically all I worked on was 4 different colors of DMC, but there were like 6 symbols maybe. There were 2 blues and 2 whites. One of the blends, to give you an example of how detailed their blends are, a blend was Blanc in 3865, which is also white. It's like a soft white. Those are blended together to make one of these whites. So there's regular Blanc. There's probably 365 by itself. There's 365 and Blanc blended together. There's one of the blues that blended with Blanc. There's the other blue blended with Blanc. There's the 2 blues blended together. There's one of the blues blended with 365. So I did a bunch of different blends, a couple solids, and there were a couple times where in order to finish the string, there were a few that were added down here as well. But mostly it was just up in that top area. So pretty cool. I do hope to finish out this top row of pages. This is roughly the page break. I think that this is maybe the page break, and down here is a little lower than the page break. So I'm hoping to get at least the top row of pages done in 2020. And I think I could do it if I just bring it out a little bit more often. So it'll get another day in Full Coverage Fanatics bingo next month. I'm hoping, this is what I haven't gotten to yet. I'm hoping to be able to pull out every single full coverage piece at least once during the bingo. I have, now that I've finished Anne of Green Gables, I have 19 full coverage whips. I'm starting 2 in order to fit the prompts, so I'll have 21. And there's 25 slots. So some of them will get additional days than more than one. I know already the Nativity will get 2 days because one of them was a holiday themed one and one of them was farm animals. That has both. So, which is appropriate for Christmas in July. So I figured, well, that one maybe I'll put towards the end and work on that on the 24th and 25th, at least because it's Christmassy. So that'll be fun. So if something is done, it fits more than one prompt, I'll do them back-to-back days. So once I have it out, I'll just power through it. And but most things I'm hoping will get at least 1 day if I can fit them in. So I need to get, I've been spending time off and on organizing my list because I didn't have all of the designer names and the brand names and the pictures like all in one place. So now I'm hoping, and the sizes and the colors and all that stuff, I'm hoping to get all of that all in one place so that as I go through my bingo list, I can make sure to like check them off as I pick them and look at what's left and try to fit those in the other spots. So I'm hoping I can fit everything in at least once. That's my hope. Let's see. Oh, and then my start. Yay! So I did start Summer Queen. I started Summer Queen on Saturday and worked on her Saturday and Sunday. And she got, actually got 250 stitches on her on Saturday. So I went ahead and took a picture and submitted it to Enchanted Stitching Saturday night, Sunday morning, something like that. Fully intending to continue to work on her. And I did. But that meant I didn't have to count, and I didn't have to remember when is it going to be 9 o'clock, and I can make sure to submit my picture on time. So I just figured I'll submit my picture Saturday. I've already met the goal of 250. Everything above that is gravy. So I worked on her a little bit more on Sunday to get a little bit farther, which I'm happy about. I just didn't count any extra stitches for the prompt, which was fine because it's easier on these ones that are not in Pattern Keeper just to stop counting and just enjoy it. So here is how far I got. Doesn't look like a whole lot, but I started in the middle, which is right about here. So I did these patches of blue in her dress, and then I worked up this gray streak, which I think is the bottom of a feather that she's holding, and here's part of her hand, which has some fractionals along the edge. And then I decided to pop over here because there was like this last line was still missing down here. I didn't want to leave it. So I got another thread on my needle of this color, stitched that, and then did some more up here, which is her torso, where she's sitting. I don't know if that helps. It's hard to point stuff out. I started here in these patches and then worked on her finger and then some in her torso. So next I'll probably I might work up her feather and then be able to get to her neck and face and hair and stuff at a later date. So that's kind of my plan. So I thought that was a pretty good start. This is on, I haven't been telling you fabrics. I told you Simpsons was on 40 count, 1/1 half stitches. My temperature tree is 28 count, 1/1 full crosses. Quick Stitch Iris is 25 count, 1/1 full crosses, and Waterfall Yosemite is 18 count, 2/1 full crosses. This is 32 count white, or 32 count oyster linen by MCG Textiles, 2/2. And I'm doing the skin 2/2. Everything is 2/2. And that's how I've done all of my pieces. I've done them all on white because they are originally all done on white. And oyster I think is a little bit softer than white. I don't know that it's exactly white, but it's close enough. And I had 2 packages of these MCG Textiles ready for winter and summer, and I technically had winter kitted with the oyster and summer kitted with the white. And then when I was looking at them, I was thinking, well, it makes more sense for winter to be on the whitest white. So I switched that one over and then did summer on oyster because it's white enough, but I think if it's slightly warmer, it won't matter because it's on the summer one. So that's exciting. They're all on white because when I started these, I didn't deviate from what was called for. So I'm going to continue with that, and they are a set. I already have I have Autumn and Spring are finished, and Royal Holiday, which is a Christmas one, is finished. And they rotate on my wall throughout the year in the same location. So I'm excited to get all of them finished, and then they can all have their time in the spotlight. So that was this week. Okay, I'm back. I took a quick break to have lunch with my family and went on a walk with my husband, and now the kids are right outside this window outside. We are upstairs, but you may hear a few kid noises, but that's okay. Figured I could finish this video while they're outside playing, and then I can get it done. So going forward now, we're going to talk about plans. So today is June 15th, when Dina Half Stitch Cross Stitch is going to start at Theresa Wenzler. I believe she's starting the Mermaid. And then Anne from Fiber Floss and Fiction, she's joining in and she's starting Harvest Sampler, I think is what it's called. Another Theresa Wenzler. And I found out they were starting it on the 15th, along with anybody else who wanted to start a Theresa Wenzler. So I thought, well, I have a Theresa Wenzler that I've been wanting to start. So I will do that. So I pulled out my English Garden Sampler leaflet that I picked up at on the freebie table at the Southern California Stitchers Retreat, and I got started. I'm going to take this scene out, so mine will end up being mostly square, a little bit wider than it is tall after that, but mostly square. And I'm stitching it on some 28 count ivory Jobelin, mostly 2/2, but there is some 1/1 in here. So it's best done on an even weave. You could still do it on Aida, but it would be a little tricky. Oh, and there's specialty stitches too. So technically I'm supposed to start this today, but I kind of cheated and I started it last night because I was able to fit this into a prompt in Enchanted Stitching Challenges, and the prompt was something you need to watch carefully to prevent frogging, and I figured this was a perfect one for that because there was a lot of specialty stitches and fractional stitches and 1/1 and etc, 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 which will need to be watched carefully to make sure it works out properly. So in my little kitty journal here for my cross stitching, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects as tentative, plans this week. 3 of them were pretty much for sure that I didn't want to move. The other 2 were family pieces. And so I was like looking at the Enchanted Stitching group challenges for this week. And there were some of them that just wouldn't fit what I had planned. So I ended up moving Knitting Woman down to next week. I'm keeping the Letter Fairy. I'm hoping it will work for the cute or romantic prompt because it's cutesy or romantic. And so it's cute. It's kind of romantic style. I'm gonna hope it works. And Stitching Shelf worked for one of them. One of them that had been in timeout. I think I went with that one. Because I had been considering not working on it anymore because it's just really large and detailed and the puzzle is way easier with all that detail. But then I decided, well, I'll just keep working on it. There's like little bits that are fun to do here and there. So it's not in timeout anymore, but it was. So it worked for that. And that's the piece that I had picked for the Full Coverage Fanatics Midsummer Nights Stitch Along this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's also the first day of summer on the 20th, which is when I'm planning to start my summer cross. So I had all of these things that I wanted to do this week. So since the Enchanted Stitching Challenges group starts at 9 p.m. my time on Sunday night, because it's midnight Eastern time, I had finished a good stopping point on Summer Queen, and I had done a lot of plans on my computer and putzing around, finally figured out what I wanted to do, and decided, you know what, I'll just start it, see how far I get, and I managed to get the first little medallion stitched around the edges. You can already see all of the fractionals in there on the edge corners and stuff. So this is a blend. I still have some on my needle, and so I'll carry that along the top. So my plan is this week, or for today, I'll work on this more today. This is about 70 stitches so far. And so I'm hoping to get to 250. I'll pick different colors. I'll focus in on this medallion with just the cross stitch, maybe also specialty stitches. We'll see what I do. If the string continues on in the border, I'll try to extend it down the top border along the side, but I'm not going to try to go all the way across today. I'm just going to focus kind of in the corner and see how that goes. At some point I need to figure out the math for how taking this out is going to work with pushing this up and making sure the border matches, and do I need to add any more little bands in here? And I won't do that yet. I'll just focus in on the top border, which is going to be the same as always, just to keep it simple. So that's my plan for that one. I'll do that for another day today. But I'm excited. It's really nice to work on that fabric. I had forgotten what else I started on that fabric because I had a big piece. I had like a yard or half yard. And I already had a piece cut out. So I was like, what else did I work on this? And I realized it was the Ink Circles tapestry that I'm doing 1/1. So that's fun. It is a nice fabric. It's ivory Jobelan, and it's nice and smooth, so it should be perfect for this sort of project. So since I have this out, and this is what I'm working on right now, and this is the day that they are, Dina and Anne are starting their Theresa Wenzler's. This will be the culmination of the giveaway that I announced last week. So this is the kit that is identical pattern to the leaflet that I have, only it's a full kit, and it's original. It's still sealed, not opened yet. Comes with all the floss, 25 count even weave, pattern, I'm assuming the needle and blending filament and all of that good stuff. So I had 135 people who are interested in this kit. So that's really exciting because Theresa Wenzler is no joke. So there were 135 of you who were willing and excited to to get this. So I pulled up my random number generator on an iPad, and I'll do this. So I'll pull up 135, 1 to 135, and generate. What is that? It's backwards to me. 59. So who is 59? Gabrielle Tripp, right there. So congratulations, Gabrielle. I'm going to get a hold of you, and if you, I may give you a few days because sometimes it's fun to see your name on here before you find out, but I will hopefully hear from you soon, and I'll put my email up here maybe, stitchinmommy7@gmail.com. You can let me know your mailing address and I'll get that to you shortly. So that'll be fun. So congratulations. That's always fun. It's fun to see who all is interested in stuff, because especially something that complicated, it's not everybody's cup of tea. So it was fun to see a lot of you were interested in joining in on that. And a few other people I have heard of, we're also thinking of starting or working on Theresa Wenzler's today. So that's fun too. There's so many good ones. Oh yeah. And that one also, if you didn't win, I was reminded there is a PDF version of this on Patterns Online, which is where you can find Theresa Wenzler's patterns, most of them. She, for some reason, a little while back, she took down her dragon ones, but she has a lot of patterns on patternsonline.com, and you can order a PDF and print it out yourself. So that's an option too, if you didn't win. I wanted to make sure to share that information, and I will try to link below that pattern. And this one, which is one I will be working on this week, is available as a PDF on the Cooler Design Studio website. So this one is a Needles and Hoops kit by Busilla that I got ages and ages, like 20 years ago. But you can find the new one. This one is called To Everything a Season Sampler, and I believe the new one is called like a traditional sampler or something like that. I will link this one below too. So if you like this, you don't have to search eBay for the kit. You can just go to Cooler Design Studio and they have a PDF, maybe even a print copy available there. So this is one of the ones that I was not planning to work on this week, but I needed something that started with the letter B or the letter O. And this is designed by, is it here? Yeah. Sandy Orton, which is one of the main designers of the Cooler Design Studio, and Orton starts with O. So I had a couple pieces that started with a B. I had like I have something by Barbara Batts. I have a couple, like the mini bird song. I have something else. Didn't have any projects that started with an O, but I had a couple designers that started with B's or O's. And I thought, you know what? This is one that I had originally been thinking that I would want to try to finish this year. At this point, halfway through the year, and I don't think I've pulled it out more than once, if that. I don't think that's a good goal with how much I have left, but I do want to make progress on it a little bit because it is pretty. It's not necessarily my style of stitching anymore. I love the colors, but there's a lot of onesies and twosies throughout. So it is a little bit hard to get progress on. But I do want to work on it, and I'm hoping I can get 250 stitches on this week because I don't have a lot of time. I am still hoping to get 5 projects done when I normally get 4, so I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. But this is where it is at now, and I'll try to put it off to the side for a little bit at least so you can get before and after for next week. This is on, I believe, 28 count even weave, which came in the kit. It came like this because there are some specialty stitches that are called for. So like this is more satin stitching, and this is satin stitching up and down. There might be more, but I'm not sure. So this is a kit fabric, 28 count even weave, probably off-white, antique white, something like that. And this is something somebody asked one time, if you don't have a serger, this is an option I just noticed. I folded the edges down and I zigzagged it. This looks like a machine stitch, but you could do this on your own. I also saw, I think Pam Reed from Pam's Crafting Corner? I forgot, I watch her all the time. Anyways, she did something similar too, where she folded it down maybe even twice over if you have enough fabric, and just do a basting stitch around to protect the edges. So that's an option if you don't have a sewing machine or a serger. So there's that. And hopefully I'll get, I don't know where I'm gonna work. I don't know, probably on the top somewhere, just because I like working from the top down. So I don't know, maybe I'll finish this corner, maybe I'll go over and do the raspberries over here. I don't know. You'll see next week what I end up deciding to do with this one. So that's another one that just kind of got pulled out. I pushed Knitting Woman back down to next week because I didn't have it didn't fit any of the prompts. So I have my letter fairy up here, I realized, but I will make a separate video for that because I'm gonna have to do that as a secret stitch now, I'm pretty sure. And so I'll work on my letter fairy this week as well for at least 250 stitches. I'll try to work as much as I can on it. I'll probably do that one last so that of the first 3 before Friday, so that whatever extra time I have beyond 250, I can maybe just keep going and get as much done on it as I can, because I do want to get that done. I have time. I have 2 years before I need to gift more, but I have to finish 2 in that 2-year time. Then I have 1 the next year and 2 the following year. So at some point they're going to start snowballing, so I want to try to get them done a little bit quicker. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe go to a previous video, but I don't want my nieces to hear too much. So the last thing that I'm gonna, oh no, not the last thing. So that's that one. I realized maybe I'll show that later in a video, in another clip. So along with this piece, I don't want to forget to do that. Okay, let's get myself organized. So Full Coverage Fanatics is having a Midsummer Night's Shakespeare theme this weekend. So I will be working on a stitching shelf because it's got books. There we go. And another thing I heard about this one is like the Rose poem, "A rose wouldn't smell sweet" or something. I think that's Shakespeare. I don't even know. Anyways, I'm sure this has something to do with Shakespeare. So I'm gonna work on this, and I may work in the summer band just because it's the summer challenge. So the summer band is this green one. And one of the prompts for the Enchanted Stitching group was the romantic. I thought about maybe doing this scene, which I've already started a little bit because the man is there hanging out with her while she's stitching, which I thought was pretty romantic. So I could work on that one. I also like the blues in this one. I could put in some greens throughout any of these. So we shall see what I end up doing. So somewhere in the summer band is probably where I will work. This is 28 count tea-dyed Monaco, and it's enormous. So I don't even know if you could see all of that because I can't really see through it. So this is the summer band? Let's move these. Let's see, spring. Yeah, that's summer. So I'll put summer maybe down here somewhere, and I can like crop it to do up and down comparisons, and I'll just tell you now, I'll just stick with summer, and then you can see what's different. So there we go. We'll do an up and down comparison for that next time, because I do like the side-by-side before and afters. That's fun. So there's that one. So I'll work on this one at least Friday and Sunday, or maybe just Friday, depending on how much I get done, because Saturday is the first day of summer, and I'm going to start the summer cross, which I started the spring one on the first day of spring, so now I need to start the summer one on the first day of summer. So this one is on white fabric, white Aida. The spring one was on light blue Aida. The winter one is on light green Aida, and I have only the pattern of the autumn cross, and I'm going to use oatmeal Ada on that one. So they all will have a different color. This one's on white. Looks like these are already on cards, but I do like to go through and like write the symbols on them ahead of time. So I'll have a little bit of processing to do. Not too much though. And like probably what I did before, I'll start in the middle and work my way up to get to the top as quickly as possible. So that's that one. And this is a Jan Lin kit, but again, it's a Cooler Design Studio product, and I think these can be found on their website as well as PDFs, possibly print. So if you're looking for them, and I think I found the autumn one, they're all here. So I started this one. This is the autumn one that I believe was a gift from Everything Cross Stitch. So they have it over there also. And then this is the winter one. Yes, doesn't look like, no, that's this one. That's Summer Cross. So winter is not showing up. Winter's not here. This is the same one as this. Anyways, winter looks wintry with like Christmas flowers, poinsettias, and stuff like that. So that's what I will be starting. It depends on how I'm feeling, what I work on Sunday. If I'm continuing on with the cross is not part of Enchanted Stitching. It didn't really fit anywhere, so I'm just going to start it. So if I need to work more on the stitching shelf or one of my other pieces for Enchanted Stitching on Sunday, I'll do that. If I feel like I want to get farther up on the cross to get to the top of the piece, I'll work on that. If I feel like I've gotten a good stopping point on everything, maybe I'll just stop and work on my temperature tree. Or do a diamond painting or something. So anyways, that reminds me, my son is doing awesome on his diamond painting. Ever since school was over, he got out his diamond painting and went to town. I was gonna bring it last week, and I forgot again this week, but I don't really want to go get it. I've already gone back and forth a million times, so I will hopefully bring it next week, or at least when he finishes it, because it's looking cool. It's a dragon, and we actually put in a couple more kits that are sold on Amazon. We put a few more on his wish list because he's excited to do a few more. So probably only one at a time, again, like me, just because of how you organize the little diamonds. It's having too many would require a huge organization system, and I'm not willing to do that for either of us. So, okay, one last thing. I think that's all the stitching. So one last thing. I wanted to share a book that I just finished that I really enjoyed. So this is The Lost Lieutenant by Erica Vetch, and I love this book. So I found out, Erica contacted me. Her mom, Esther, I believe, watches my videos. So that's exciting. So hi! They heard me talk about the Mayflower Bride series, the Daughters of the Mayflower series that I had been reading earlier this year, and thought, hey, would you like to try my book? So this is one of her newest books, and it was really good. Like, it's a Christian fiction set in the Regency era, like the same era as Jane Austen. You can tell she did her research. She had a lot of details that you could tell were to help you feel like you were in that era. It was well written. The plot moved along really fast. Lots of twists and turns, even from the very beginning, which was fun. And I don't like to read the backs of books because I don't want anything spoiled. And I was not disappointed. There was so many twists and turns right from the beginning. So I'm not going to tell you very much at all about the plot, just that it was really cool. It is a Christian fiction, but it wasn't like drowning in God talk. So if anybody doesn't like that, or, you know, it's there in a subtle way. So it didn't take away from the story. And she also includes like chapter 1 of the next book. There's a trilogy, it looks like. She sent me these bookmarks, and there's another one that comes out in July and another one that comes out in February. I had to put the July one on my wish list, and I could probably wait until my birthday to see if I get it for my birthday in September, but because the third one doesn't come out until February anyways, but really, I want to read it now. I went ahead and read chapter 1 of the next book. I'm like, oh, I want to keep going. So anyways, it was really good. So thank you for sending me that. I loved it. I have another one of hers that's like a novella combined with a few other authors. So I'll have to get to that one maybe in the meantime, until I can get to the next book of this. But it was really good. So that's my story on that one. I kept meaning to share that, or kept wanting to share it and wondering if I should share it along the way. I only have about a half hour at night to read every night, and that's usually how I read. But with books like this, especially a lot of fiction tends to be this way. If I'm reading a nonfiction, I don't get the same urge, but like first thing in the morning, if I have time, I'll usually finish out my chapter, or finish out a section, or read a little bit more, just because it's so good. I have to keep going. But now I'm back into a nonfiction book. I like to go back and forth with fiction, nonfiction, reading another book for a book club at church. So, and then after that, I'll have to pick which fiction I'll do next. Maybe the other one from her. It's a mail order bride story. So I like those too. So anyways, that was all I had to share with you today. And I hope you have fun stitching whatever you're working on. And if you're working on the Theresa Wenzler, have fun with that and make sure you count accurately. The full coverage fanatics this weekend. I'm excited to see everybody's progress, and on the Facebook group. I don't know if there's anything else. So with that, I guess I'll see you later, and happy stitching. Bye.